Meow, 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 meow. Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Meow. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I want to rank the fintech stocks. I have 8 of them being pulled up over here. I want to rank them one by a couple of different metrics. The first one is going to be the Bollinger Band. This is a monthly chart. I want to rank them all based on Bollinger Band and how they look. Right? The most bullish one is going to be NU. I don't think there's any doubt in terms of that Bollinger Band is still kind of expanding here on the upper part of it, going sideways here a little bit. Did have a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle over here, but hey, monthly bearish engulfing candle on a bull trend, I'm not really that concerned about it. Price simply just went way outside upper Bollinger Band for the month of March, and it's just basically went, kind of correct down over here, back inside the Bollinger Band. It's no big deal. 20-month moving average is still pointing up, way up, right? So it does require a little bit of cool down. Maybe it cools down for another month before further bullish continuation. Maybe another month after that. Who knows? But this is going to be still the most bullish one of them all. And this is really the only one that has already challenged its all-time high from previous, back December 2021. It had a wick above and formed a higher high compared to when it first IPO'd. So that's going to be number one. Number two is going to be Robinhood. Robinhood does have an expansion of the Bollinger Band. And again, just like NU, it goes way too far, way too fast above the upper Bollinger Band. Just require another month to kind of go sideways here. It did have a little bit more of like a bullish, Harami candle over here, kind of like it did over here, a little bit of inside candle, which means that this favors bullish continuation. But because the Bollinger Band just simply hasn't expanded as far as NU did, so I'm going to put Hood, as a number two. Although I think that this bull trend is probably going to end up being pretty powerful. The 20-month moving average is starting to kind of point up here a little bit. So that's a pretty decent setup over here. Number three is going to be AFRM and also Stone Cold. These two are probably neck to neck over here. AFRM has a very, very nice setup over here where price went way above the upper Bollinger Band in December and spent about 4 months just kind of going sideways on declining volume. All it takes is just a little bit of bullish energy to kind of push price up higher. 29 moving average is also curling up. The Bollinger Band expansion is just not as powerful as Robinhood, so I'm going to call this number three. Number four is really the same. It's Stone Cold. It basically has a very, very similar setup, although the volume has not really been that nicely declining on this bull flag over here, unlike the firm, which I think the firm is probably going to be like a better risk reward ratio in terms of a setup here. But you also have a very similar setup, not really having like that Bollinger expansion quite just yet. 20-month moving average is nicely pointing up, forming a nice bull flag. Has the same identical look compared to a firm, or number three, but the volume is declining, but it's not as nicely, declining as what a firm is doing. Like a firm is really looking like it's really wanting to run. It's just there's a lot of buyer strike, and all it takes is just a little bit of buying energy to come in, and this whole thing could reverse and get pushing a lot higher. But Stone Cold basically has a very, very similar setup over here. Square, Block, formerly known as Square, SQ. This is number five. It did end up having a little bit of a monthly gap down here. Those fusters, man, they keep on having these like criminal investigation stuff that is being put out there. I don't know if it's real or not. Like, I don't care. I think it's just timed very, very poorly, or timed very well tomorrow's earnings. So I don't know exactly what to expect, but you can see that it's basically backtesting the 20-month moving average is pointing up, right? Bollinger Band still hasn't expanded yet, which is why I call it a number five. But so far it still look like price is still trying to really be on the upper part of Bollinger Band. It still look like it's trying to develop a bull trend over here. So that's number five. We'll see how earnings go. Number six is PayPal. PayPal moved up the list. Initially, PayPal was last. From a video that I did, I think 6 weeks ago, PayPal was last because it was just way far from the 20-month moving average, and the 20-month moving average was just pointing way down, and it was just way too far from it. Next thing you know, it got magnet over to the 20-month moving average, and the 20-month moving average also started to flatten here a little bit. Now, I do want to see PayPal. PayPal, again, is not expanding, it's squeezing, because it's just been doing nothing but sideways here for almost 2.5, 3 years. But it's Bollinger Band squeezing, 20-month average is flattening. you really like to see price kind of reclaim the 20-moving average before going up. It's trying to do that, hasn't really quite been able to do that quite just yet, but it's trying. I like the fact it's actually touching the 20-moving average right now to try to get up, get the price up higher. But unfortunately, it's still kind of underneath the 20-moving average. The 20-moving average is still pointing down. So this is going to be number 6, but I like the fact that it's trying. Number 7, SOFI. SOFI has fallen down because of a recent breakdown underneath the 20-month moving average. 20-month moving average is still pointing up, mind you, so this is still probably not going to serve as very bad resistance. I think all it takes is just a little bit of buying volume to kind of come in and try to push price back above, but you are starting to get into a little bit of resistance here on the volume shelf, on the 20-month moving average over here. But again, it's pointing up. This is probably not going to be a very, very bad resistance, right? But you did kind of fall underneath of this 20-month moving average, and there's no expansion on the Bollinger Band. So, because it's kind of fallen underneath, I'm going to call this number 7. Number 8, Upstart. Upstart fell underneath too. It actually fell underneath for about 3 months straight. And Upstart is even further away from the 20-moving average. For SOFI, at least 20-moving average is pointing up a little bit. Upstart just looks flat. Right? So it really needs to maybe spend the next month or two to try to get back close to the 20-moving average, ideally flip it back as support to kind of balance up from there. So these are the 8 stocks that I rank based on Bollinger Bands. Now another way to rank them is I'm going to pull up the Ichimoku Cloud, and instead of looking at the Ichimoku Cloud on the monthly, I'm going to do a 2-week, and I'm going to try to kind of show you what all these stocks are doing, right? I'm going to also pull up some of the other indicators that I've hidden down underneath, and just to pull them up over here. So you have the Black Cat Banker Fund Flow Trend Oscillator, tells you kind of what the whales are doing, right? And also have the unbalanced volume, look for any potential divergences, looking for this wave trend oscillator, also looking for any potential divergences, and also the RSI, which is the momentum indicator. NU, I'm going to go through the same order and just kind of show you what I'm seeing here. NU overbought. Will start to kind of pull back a little bit over here. It doesn't mean that they won't come back and push price higher, but whenever price kind of challenged all-time high, whales are like, I had enough. This is a pretty good ride over here. So there's going to be some whales that are going to end up exiting. You also need to have a little bit of a cool down over here because it's simply just way overbought over here on the 2-week chart, right? But the one thing that is promising is that there is a little bit of a cool down of RSI from here to there when price went up. So there's a little bit of a relative, hidden bullish divergence over here that's kind of being seen over here. But nevertheless, things are just a little bit way overbought. So you have this big giant, red candle over here for the month of April, which is warranted. Now, it's still going to be a pretty decent setup because why? Because the selling volume is actually not very committal. So I'm actually not that scared if I was in this stock. But you do have to understand that there is a loss of momentum in terms of whale inflow, and this is not the end of the world, but you're starting to see a little bit there. Now, Robinhood, you can see what Robinhood is doing. With NU, you already have like the bottom of this cloud over here that's being formed, right? It kind of already broken way above it. So with Robinhood, you're broken into the cloud, and it's trying to get to the other side and get above the cloud. Whale inflow is slowing down, but overall they're still in positive trend in terms of whale inflow. I'm not really seeing any, like bearish divergence or anything like that to get me worried about. You do have the wave trend oscillator kind of, looking like it's pointing the opposite way, but so was here. Like this doesn't really mean anything because price can keep going up on the wave oscillator, wave trend oscillator, just keep going up, right? So it doesn't really bother me. Overall, there's a little bit of a declining, whale trend over here, but it's broken inside the cloud. You can see how it kind of broke inside and back test the bottom of the cloud and going up. So I find this setup to be still quite favorable. AFRM broke inside the cloud and just kind of went around the cloud here, trying to find support before pushing up further. Does AFRM have to test the bottom of the cloud? No, because the volume does not support that. It has to happen. It's just been kind of forming a bull flag over here on very, very much declining volume here for months and months now, right? So I think you're really starting to find some, pretty decent support over here, potentially be able to get to the top of the cloud, which is going to be around 90. you're going to see a little bit of a declining of whale inflow over here during this period of time, but it might all just be noise because the volume is very, very low, right? I'm not really seeing any like major bearish divergences. If anything, I'm seeing more of like a bullish divergence over here of the wave trend oscillator, where price just kind of went up when the trend oscillator just kind of got reset, right? So this is a very, very nice like hidden bullish divergence over here that I'm seeing. So that's usually favorable. So the firm again broken through the cloud looks pretty nice. And you look at Stone Cold, it's basically the same thing. You have a little bit of like whale outflow over here. It does not have that nice hidden bullish divergence, unfortunately, for this. But it also broke inside the cloud and just kind of went sideways, right? What is SQ doing? This is also a reason why it's weaker than the other one, because it simply just got rejected from the bottom of the 2-week Ichimoku cloud, right? But you continue to have increase in whale inflow. So I think eventually it's going to be able to kind of break back above, but I'm still going to rank this number 5 because it still hasn't really been able to do that. Now, one thing that's very, very interesting here, PayPal. PayPal is way underneath the cloud still, right? But this is the only one that I'm showing so far, really the only one that I'm showing all of this, that actually have an increase in fund inflow. So in the short term, PayPal actually is doing pretty well. Just like what Bob Dylan said, those losers will now be later to win as the times are changing. So there's not going to be always going to be something that's going to do very well. Other things could potentially catch up. And right now we're looking like PayPal with this strong whale inflow. PayPal could potentially end up doing pretty decent here, although it still hasn't really touched the bottom of the cloud. And once it touches the bottom of the cloud, you might end up having some rejections like what Square is experiencing right now. But it still hasn't gotten there yet. There's still increasing whale inflow. We'll see what happens. So that's kind of that, right? For SOFI, even though I call it number 7, it's still broke inside the cloud, and there's a potential to backtest the bottom of the cloud before going up higher. There is a lot of kind of start of have these whale outflow over here. Initially, there's a little bit of a blue candle here, which basically tells you, hey, if price end up stopping there, it could potentially be a trend reversal for bear inflow outflow. So I just unlocked this just a couple of days ago, so I didn't really see that until a couple of days ago. In terms of what the whale fund inflow here for the 2-week chart is looking like. But it's looking like the whales are having a little bit of outflow. Now, is this going to scare you? No, because over here, when you have a lot of significant inflow over here, eventually it stops, right? Like, you're not just going to say this is going to keep going on forever. Eventually it stops. And when it stops, it can reverse, relatively quickly, right? So we might be getting to an area where eventually we're going to end up having a little bit of a trend reversal over here, right? But the bottom of the cloud might serve as support. I don't know for sure. Certainly look like that's a possibility, because if you look at all 3 indicators over here, and I was showing this on X earlier too, if you look at all these 3 indicators besides the whale fund inflow indicators, price has gone up from here to this point, right? But we're really having a lot of these kind of hidden bullish divergences with all 3 of these indicators, with the unbalanced volume, with the wave trend oscillator, and also with RSI. Like, all of these are showing you a hidden bullish divergence where price is going up, and you have these indicators kind of resetting down here a little bit, potentially allowing for momentum kind of start picking up again wherever it wants to do that. I don't know when it's going to be. Is it going to bounce to the bottom of the cloud before going up? Possibly. The bottom of the cloud right now is going to be around like 6.36, right? Can it go down 6.36 to bounce up? Possibly. But it might also be finding support here at this horizontal zone over here. Around 6.6 could be where it might be finding support. So that's SOFI. Now when it comes to Upstart, again, Upstart's very similar to PayPal. It hasn't really even started to kind of challenge the cloud yet. There continues to be a whale outflow. I'm not really seeing any like major bullish divergences over here either. So using these kind of indicators, you're also seeing a very, very similar picture. But anyway, I just kind of want to compare these because I'm interested in, a lot of these stocks. I own 5 out of these 8. I do not own ANU, but I own Hood, Affirm, I own SQ, I own PayPal, and also own SOFI. So I own all of these, and it's kind of interesting in terms of like kind of seeing how each of these are playing out. Now, thank you so much for listening. I just want to do something a little bit different over here. Thank you. Bye.